The psychology of winners unlocking success secrets. What if I told you that the difference between you and the world's highest achievers isn't about luck, talent, or even intelligence? It all comes down to mindset. Most people operate from a place of fear, doubt, and limitation. They let their past define them, their failures hold them back, and their inner critic whisper, "You're not good enough." But winners, they think differently. They understand that success is an inside job. It starts with mastering your psychology, rewiring your beliefs, and stepping into a mindset of unshakable power. Get ready to unleash your inner winner. Let's break it down step by step and see how the greatest minds think, act, and overcome challenges. Let's talk about the foundation of success, the bedrock of every single high achiever out there, the growth mindset. This isn't just some feel-good concept, it's backed by decades of research by Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck. Most people operate from a fixed mindset. They believe that their intelligence, their talents, their abilities are fixed traits. This kind of thinking creates a ceiling on your potential. It makes you terrified of failure because you see it as a reflection of your worth. But winners, they embrace a growth mindset. They understand that their abilities are not set in stone. They're like muscles that can be developed through dedication, hard work, and consistent effort. They see challenges as opportunities for growth, obstacles as stepping stones, and failures as feedback. Think about the legendary Michael Jordan. This is a man synonymous with basketball brilliance. But did you know he was actually cut from his high school basketball team? Can you imagine the sting of that rejection? But here's the difference. Michael Jordan didn't let that define him. He didn't say, "Oh well, I guess I'm not meant to play basketball." No! He used that experience as fuel. He doubled down on his training, outworked everyone else, and transformed himself into arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. Remember his words? "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." That's the power of a growth mindset. So how do you cultivate this mindset? It starts with your self-talk. Challenge those beliefs. Embrace challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. Let's be real, my friends. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's not some magical lottery ticket that only a lucky few get to cash in. It's about showing up consistently, day after day, and putting in the work, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when you'd rather be doing anything else. I'm talking about cultivating a relentless work ethic, an unshakable discipline that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Because let me tell you, talent alone is not enough. The world is full of talented people who never reach their full potential because they lack the discipline to see their dreams through. Look at Elon Musk, for example. The man is revolutionizing entire industries, from electric cars to space travel. But do you think it's all been easy? Do you think he just snaps his fingers and makes things happen? Elon Musk is notorious for his grueling work schedule, often clocking in 100-hour weeks, pushing himself and his teams to the limit. Why? Because he understands that extraordinary results require extraordinary effort. Now, I'm not saying you need to work yourself to the bone 24/7. That's not sustainable. But I am challenging you to examine your level of commitment. Are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to make sacrifices? Are you willing to push yourself beyond your comfort zone? Discipline is about building habits that support your goals. It's about making those daily choices that move you closer to your dreams, even when you don't feel like it. Start small. Create a morning routine that sets you up for success. Let's talk about the F word, failure. Most people are terrified of failure. They avoid it like the plague. They let the fear of not being good enough, of messing up, of disappointing themselves or others, paralyze them into inaction. But here's the thing, my friends, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to it. Every single person you admire, every icon, every legend, every history maker has failed, probably more times than you can even imagine. But here's the difference. They didn't let those failures define them. They didn't internalize them as evidence of their inadequacy. They reframed them. They learned from them. They used them as fuel to come back stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. Imagine being fired from your own company. That's exactly what happened to Steve Jobs, the visionary behind Apple. Can you imagine the humiliation, the self-doubt that must have crept in? But Steve Jobs didn't let that defeat him. He didn't say, "Well, I guess I'm not cut out for this." He took that experience, learned from it, and went on to create Next, which was eventually acquired by Apple, bringing him back to the company he founded. That's the power of reframing failure. Let's talk about one of the most powerful forces in the human experience. Belief. See, most people go through life crippled by self-doubt. They allow their inner critic, that negative voice in their head, to dictate their actions, their decisions, and ultimately their destiny. But winners, they understand that self-belief is not a luxury, it's a necessity. They know that if they don't believe in themselves, if they don't back themselves 100%, no one else will. They understand that belief is a muscle that needs to be trained, nurtured, and strengthened over time. Now, I'm not talking about arrogance or ego. I'm talking about that quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worth, trusting your instincts, and believing in your ability to figure things out. Think about Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women of our time. She was once told she was unfit for television. Can you imagine if she had internalized that criticism, if she had let those words define her? But Oprah didn't listen to the naysayers. She trusted her gut, she believed in her vision, and she went on to create a media empire. Remember, self-belief is not about having all the answers, it's about trusting yourself to find them. You can have all the talent in the world, all the knowledge, all the strategies, but if you're not willing to take action, none of it matters. See, the world is full of dreamers, people who talk a big game but never get around to doing the work. But winners, they understand that action is the antidote to fear. They know that the only way to overcome doubt, uncertainty, and procrastination is to act, to move, to get into the game. They don't wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect circumstances because they know there's no such thing. Think about Jeff Bezos. He started Amazon in his garage. Can you imagine if he had waited for the perfect time, the perfect business plan, the perfect market conditions? Amazon wouldn't exist today. He took a risk, he put in the work, and he built an empire. Remember, you don't have to be fearless to take action, you just have to act in spite of your fear. The more you act, the more confident you become, the more momentum you create. So what are you waiting for? What's that one thing you've been putting off, that dream you've been too afraid to pursue? Start small. Break it down into manageable steps, and then take that first step. Winners surround themselves with the right people. Let's talk about the power of your environment. See, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by negative, cynical, or unambitious people, their energy will rub off on you, whether you realize it or not. But if you surround yourself with positive, driven, and supportive individuals, their energy will lift you up, inspire you, and challenge you to become the best version of yourself. Think about the power of mentorship and the impact it can have on your life. Look at Bill Gates, one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. He credits much of his success to his close friendship with Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors in history. They challenge each other, they learn from each other, and they push each other to be better. Now, I'm not saying you need to be best friends with billionaires to achieve success, but I am challenging you to audit your circle. Who are you spending your time with? Are they supporting your dreams or holding you back? Remember, you have the power to choose your environment. So there you have it, the 6 mindsets of winners. Remember, success isn't about luck, it's not about genetics, and it's not about being born under a lucky star. It's about mindset, it's about habits, and it's about taking massive action. If you start applying these principles today, if you commit to rewiring your thinking, if you're willing to do the work, I promise you, you'll be on your way to creating extraordinary results in your life. If this video added value to you, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insights into the psychology of success.